The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Playoffs and Phil.
What's up, guys? Dutchy talking in here. As always, God bless. Go first.
Let the celebration begin.
You are now listening to the 302 Birds Eagles postgame show with Jac and Dalton. Proudly powered by TickPick, the official fan experience partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, let's take it to the show.
They said we wouldn't have any impressive wins. They said that this team was not legit. They said that this team wasn't ready. But dear Santa Claus, we've been good this year. All we want for Christmas this year after this Charm City victory is a Super Bowl. This team is looking legit, Jack, after going down to be more to see them, I'm going to say it one last time, be less.
Yeah, I mean, 24-19 win. It was definitely it wasn't an easy win. There's still a lot of things we need to work on. The Eagles did not look good. They looked decently. Let me rephrase that. But if Justin Tucker did not miss those 2 field goals and the extra point, this would be a different game. So we rallied in the second half, but definitely – I give my flowers to the defense because they held them to, how many yards did the Ravens have total today? They had a total of 206 yards, which is a lot. And we only had like 118 yards. So a lot to work on. We have the Panthers next week, which is going to be not an easy win because the Panthers are looking good. They're in overtime right now with the Buccaneers. So we got a lot to work on.
Yeah, a lot to work on. But let's highlight some of the positives before we get into the negatives. In the first half, man, I'll let you take it first. A.J. Brown, he looked really sharp out there. He looked prepared. He looked like he knew, like he wanted what he wanted to do with the ball. I mean, he didn't look phased at all, didn't look cold at all. He looked like fucking Julio Jones 2.0. I mean, what were your thoughts on him first half?
I mean, he had a great game today. But the only thing is he only had 66 total yards. So that's not numbers we like to see with A.J. Brown. But, what was working for us was the RPO. A.J. Brown was always open for that RPO. And then in the second half, we decided to get away from it. But the first half, the last, call it 8 minutes, they looked really good. But, yeah, A.J. Brown, still a shining star for us, a reliable player. But I would love to see more yards out of him this next game next week.
Yeah, I think the one thing to note, too, with A.J.'s day today was that a majority of those receptions, yards, I think like 54 of them or something, came in the first half. So you're right. Game plan, do what works, what doesn't work. First half, I felt like A.J. Brown was going to go off and have a really strong game, which is why I made this topic. But like Shardy said, A.J. doesn't care about getting touches as long as the Eagles win. Same with Saquon Barkley. That's what they said after the game today. They said, wow, 8 wins. This is really impressive. You guys are a legit team. What's your thoughts on this to Saquon Barkley? And he basically said the same motto, the same idea that the 2017 team had, which is we work together as a team, we trust each other, and we know what we are. We know our strengths, we know our weaknesses, and it's fucking working. It's working, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful sight. But one thing to note too, like Jack also mentioned, Justin Tucker was possibly the MVP today for Eagles fans. Sorry, Ravens fans. I know that hurts to hear, but somebody that's been so reliable and so great as an NFL kicker as a whole, possibly the GOAT, left 6 points on the board. And when you think about it, it would have changed the scape of the game. This game would have been 26 24 than Ravens, I believe, and they would have had a way better shot to go out and win this. So it would have put the Eagles at a way more disadvantage. They would have had to go down the field then, try to win it because of Justin Tucker's fault. Not likely of Justin Tucker. Is he washed? I don't know if I'm ready to say that yet. There's definitely something in the water this year. Like there is with running backs being more relevant, there's something in the water this year with kickers choking in big moments. We had our week like that a couple weeks ago with Elliott, where it was like, Jesus Christ. Thankfully, it didn't bite us in the game. We didn't lose because of it. Ravens today, unfortunately, get the smaller side of the wishbone because, like you said, Jack, they had more total yards, I believe, offensively, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they earned it.
Yeah, I mean, the game could have been, could have changed if he made those field goals, but if the same game was played as it was and how it finished, we would have lost by 1 point. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, the defense, the second half, I think the Ravens offense had possession of the ball for 18 out of or 20 minutes out of the 30 minutes. So that needs to stop. Justin Tucker, I think, you have those days, but he's had those days all year. And I saw a stat that today he tied his overall career misses with 7 field goals missed in one season. So, we still rallied. But, I was talking to my girlfriend. She's a Ravens fan.
Yeah. How's your life right now? I was going to ask you.
That's fine. I mean, she was kind of agreeing with me, like Tucker needs to go. So she said, it may need to look in the draft for a kicker because he's been in the league now for 13 seasons, I think. I could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, she was after he missed the first field goal and then kicked the 50-yard field goal and made that and then missed the second one, she said, this game's done. Eagles win. So she wasn't as sour as I thought she would be, but it's nice to brag a little bit.
Yeah, I hear that. Look, Ravens fans know that they're my second favorite team. I'm sure you too, just being by relevance, the closest. But the Ravens are a respectable team in the NFL. That's why the Eagles fans wanted this so bad, because Baltimore is legit. Baltimore has 2 of the MVP favorites. It's out of the top, I'd say 7, 4 of them play for either Baltimore or Philly, being Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson. But yeah, Tucker being off today was a major asset for the Eagles. Somebody who wasn't off on the flip side of things is our guy, Saquon Barkley. I believe it was like 107 yards today. Sorry, I'm on the wrong page. But I mean, he just looked insane again. Every time that this guy gets the ball, it's like we're watching Adrian Peterson all over again. I said it last year. I think it was on the postgame show or in a TikTok. And I thought about it all week. And there have been the posts of the stats comparing Henry, comparing Adrian Peterson. And it really is the year of the running back. So I'm just excited to see what Saquon Barkley's doing. And I think if you're an NFL fan and you don't think that Saquon Barkley should be the MVP right now, what are you doing? I mean, this guy is averaging probably at least 110, 120 yards a game, rushing yard wise. He just looks absurd. He's playing on a different level. The linebackers, the secondary on other teams are fearing him, and he's doing all this in cold weather. That's the thing that I think Eagles fans forgot about a lot, too. Somebody said this to me last week, and they were like, I really slept on this, too. And they said, Saquon Barkley had to be a good running back behind a shitty line for a long time. Think about that for a second. A lot of people were like, wait, what? That's really good, because by the time that he got to the Eagles offensive line, he already knew how to make those cuts, how to make those plays, how to make those jukes with a mediocre guard and a mediocre tackle and a mediocre center. So by the time that he got to the Eagles, where these guys are all pros, he's like, holy shit, they can hold their block. Boom, he's gone. And that's why I think he's having this season like we're seeing. From the Big Apple to Philadelphia, I don't have anything with big in it, at least, but the big ass whoop and the big cheesesteak, man. I mean, Barkley's having a magical season.
Yeah, I mean, had 107 yards for 23 carries. I mean, He's averaged 100 yards every game, which is huge. I think this marks I think he was at, I forget what it was, but he's on pace to hit that 2,000-yard marker. So just keep feeding the ball. We see what happens when we feed Saquon Barkley the ball. Yeah, he had a fumble today, but coming to Philadelphia, it just seems that Saquon Barkley, I was watching tonight, he has a smile on his face every time he has the ball in his hands, or every time they review or they, after the play, you see his face. So I think he's having a good time. And I mean, Saquon Barkley definitely, because Derrick Henry had 19 carries for 82 yards. So, but again, this was a matchup of probably the top 5 run stop defenses, and we saw that happen, in this game. We couldn't really get much going with the run, but when Saquon turns it on, he turns it on. Once he scored that touchdown, I said, "This is Saquon's game," and he had a great game, and we got to keep doing that. Panthers are going to be an easy run. They're not really good at stopping the run, so we'll see what happens. But definitely enjoy seeing Saquon be successful here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and it's no disrespect to Henry either. Henry had a pretty decent day, I know, as well, with, I believe it was, 82 yards for Henry. So Henry's not having a bad day either. He's very efficient. But Saquon Barkley was barking for our Philadelphia Eagles, which honestly makes a lot of people think, and myself, like I said 3 weeks ago, but a lot of people said 3 weeks ago, this guy's got to be in the MVP conversation. The season that he's having, the numbers that he's putting up, the average that he's having, it's unfair not to. Now he's surpassed Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in those rankings. The only person that I would actually put above Saquon at this point is probably Josh Allen. And depending on how tonight goes, which I know we're going to try to get done this in a little bit here so we can go watch it. Buffalo fans at the moment are struggling to get to their seat in the snow. Hopefully we get one of those games in Philadelphia this year. I would love to be able to go in person. That's on my bucket list. But the Eagles are legit. I think that they're proving, and Saquon Barkley is proving, that the MVP can play in any weather and can do this anytime, any day.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Dalton, this is definitely – we'll see what happens tonight's game, because Josh Allen really – is, I would say, number 1 overall MVP candidate right now to win the MVP. I mean, he has a team where they aren't really that good. He's kind of the whole offense. So depending on how tonight goes, I can definitely see Saquon Barkley in the top 3 for MVP candidates. But I think he'll probably win Offensive Player of the Year. He's well deserving of that. But yeah, I mean, he should be in that conversation of MVP this year because the last time we saw an MVP that was a running back was AP, and he's on pace to kind of match that season for him. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. This is going to be the first time ever, guys. Mark my words. I'll say it right now. It's December. It's not November last year when the Eagles crashed. It's December, so I got a better feeling. The Eagles are going to see, us fans, our first ever MVP in Midnight Green. And then I think what's going to happen, which has been a trend the past couple of years, the MVP is going to win the Super Bowl. Mahomes did it. A lot of people used to say, oh, you can't win the MVP and then win the Super Bowl. Not in this new age. I think it's almost a trend to show, okay, if you can do it during the regular season and carry your team, you're going to do it throughout the year. And Saquon Barkley has been that guy. Now, something that wasn't on the bingo card, Jack, I mean, I'll let you take this first with Zeppelin. Did you see us ever beating the Ravens, your girlfriend's team, away, or the Bengals away? Never happened before.
No. This definitely, because there was a stat, I forget what it was, but Lamar Jackson was 10-0 in the last 10 games winning at home. So yeah, this is amazing. Finishing that bingo card. We haven't beat the Bengals on the road. We have not beat the Ravens on the road until tonight. So that's huge. This shows you that this team is legit. This team is hungry for that win. I really think that with Brandon Graham on the sideline, that kind of fueled their fire a little bit. Not a little bit, a lot of it. So yeah, completing that bingo card it's awesome. It is a great stat to have, and it's awesome this season to have. You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. They look legit when they played both these teams, and that's no easy feat. Beating the Bengals when they did at this point in the season that they did, it's not like they're beating the Bengals right now. The beat to shit team that basically is giving up on their year, has lost for a month straight, basically dragged their fans' dick through the fucking dirt. That's what happened to Bengals fans. Let's call it like it is. Ravens fans, on the other hand, Ravens fans are more respectable. That one was like, I don't know. We even said going into the year, that was the one game that we were like, the Ravens and the Bengals. We said, well, they're both away, and they're both really good franchises, and they're going to be good teams this year. I don't know if the Eagles will beat them. And they did beat both of them. And they are one catch away. I want to remind Eagles fans, one catch away from Saquon Barkley, if he caught that, them being a 11-win team. They would be 11-1 right now, which is absurd. Absurd to think about. They're going to catch up to Detroit, and even if they don't, playing in Detroit honestly may be more of an advantage for the Eagles than the Lions, because the Eagles wouldn't have to play outside in the cold. I believe that the Lions Stadium isn't an indoor, right, Jack?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So they would play at an indoor stadium, which honestly, the Eagles are a way better team, I think, than the Lions on paper and this year. So either at home or in Detroit, I think that the Eagles should win it either way. They're that much of a gap of a team. How you feeling, Zeppy?
I think the only actual loss the Eagles had this year, you didn't have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Britton Covey, or Lane Johnson. And Cooper DeJean wasn't healthy yet. He wasn't playing. Right?
Yep.
And then the other loss was Saquon Barkley drop. I think you need to start rooting for the Packers, Vikings, and Lions to take each other apart, because that's their only shot at the 1 seed. I feel pretty confident that we're pretty much locked into that 2 seed. Knock on wood. I mean, it's looking pretty good that way, but the bye helps immensely.
Yeah. And like Shardy said, Lamar Jackson is now at 24-2 against NFC teams. So that is a fun stat to have.
Who's the other loss?
The shitty Giants.
2022 when Daniel Jones made the playoffs.
Yeah, in 2022 when we were fighting to get in the playoffs against the Giants. We were.
Wow.
No, that was like Super Bowl year.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, so against the shitty Giants, that was the Daniel Jones playoff year. Now that's a crazy stat to have. 24-2 against NFC teams, and we're one of those teams. So, especially in M&T Bank. So
it's a good team.
I mean,
but here, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But here to talk about that good team and that good win today is somebody who we're excited to have back on the network. Welcome in Broad Street Reports, Ryan. How are you feeling about the win today?
I'm feeling good. I got to tell you that. I thought it was very sloppy. I thought it was a sloppy win. I didn't think it was a great win. But you know what? What really makes teams and proves that you're not a fraud is when you can still win games even though you played shitty. Like that, and that's what we saw tonight. We had a bunch of penalties, bunch of fumbles, and Jalen Hurts didn't play his best. It took Barkley to the fourth quarter to play. And but I mean, when you can win versus a shitty team, or not shitty team, and when you play shitty and you can win, I mean that's almost as much better than blowing a team out, because it shows you can fight.
Yeah.
Broad, I'm going to say something. You know, I follow you on social media. You were at a restaurant today during the game, and you're never at a restaurant. So that I was like, you got to stay at your house. You got to stay home for the game.
No, yeah. I was at Chickies, right? So
okay.
I was out at Chickies. And then at halftime, and I was just like, I was with my friends, and then we were like, let's just go home. You know what I mean? Let's just go home. The team wasn't playing well, and we were just like, let's just go home.
Yeah.
We can watch the same BS that we are at Chickies at home.
Exactly.
Hey, you ain't wrong.
Yeah. And
Shardy
I
says
gotta tell you,
this.
I'm Chickies gives me bad luck because I was at Chickies for Game 6 of the first round for the Sixers, and they got pummeled at home by the Knicks. And then I was at Game 4 of the NLDS Phillies versus Mets, and the Chickies might give me bad luck, dude. I don't know.
It might be.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not bad luck for me, but maybe for you, man. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to start tallying what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, leave it tally.
But yeah, like Shard said, like this Marcus Lamar has never won against Saquon Barkley, against the Eagles and against the Giants. So maybe his kryptonite is Saquon Barkley, which is awesome. So
Yeah.
What were you most impressed with today, Ryan?
I don't think like in the past couple weeks there's been like a glaring hole that you can say is like the reason why we won, or like the most stand out. But I would say the defensive line. I mean, they stopped Henry. They were able to hold him for a good margin of the game, and they also put a lot of pressure on Lamar. Which they kept him in the pocket. They didn't give him a lot of room to run and pick up yards. So I mean, like the offensive play calls weren't as good as they have been. Jalen Hurts wasn't great tonight, and the secondary was pitiful for most of the game. So if I would give it to the defensive front because they put pressure and they stopped Henry for the most part. I'll give them that. That's Barkley too, but I would probably the defensive line.
Jack, what were you most impressed with?
The defense played great. We had a total of 46 tackles tonight. Zach Bond played a great game tonight. He had 8 solo tackles, half a sack, and 1 tackle for a loss. I mean, come on now. This dude is playing out of his mind, and it is amazing to see him thrive in Philly. He wasn't really thriving that much in New Orleans. So I think he's found his home. And it's a matter of, okay, we got to keep this guy because if we don't, we would shoot ourselves in the foot. And not to mention, one of the best plays tonight that I just love because, Derrick Henry's a tank. When the rookie Cooper DeJean pile drive him into the fucking ground, that is a fucking dog mentality play. You don't do that to Derrick Henry, but Cooper DeJean did. So this defense across the board, they played amazing football. I mean, like I said, the second half, I think the Ravens had the ball. They had it, I would say, 20 minutes out of the 30 minutes in the second half, and we can't be doing that. This defense was gassed. We saw Vic Fangio's adapt to the play calls, and, I mean, this defense stopped them. And I don't think we've really seen a defense stop Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson as well as we did. I mean, we got to contain Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, is a rusher. So I was talking to Josh, we got to bring pressure in the middle and then have Sweat and Smith on the outside just contain. And we started doing that towards the end of the game. But this defense, I would say, saved their ass. 100% saved their ass.
Yeah. I think they did. And because the first half wasn't great, it really wasn't for either side of the football. But again, in the second half, they figured it out. And I thought it was the same way last week for the defense. The defense struggled in the first half, especially the first quarter, and then they locked in. So, they definitely they saved the team. They did what they had to do. It wasn't pretty, but the defense showed it to play. And that hit from the Gene to Henry, I don't find the word to describe it, dude. He got fucking wrecked. Not even funny. It was like WWE. It's not a a spear, a Roman Reigns spear. That's what it looked like out there, dude. Like a spear right there. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
It was. I wasn't expecting that. No.
I think that Vic Fangio revamped the way that this defense approaches tackling. Like the first couple of weeks, especially the first 4 games, we saw them really struggle the way that they tackled. I don't know if he got somebody to come in and teach these guys how to tackle like differently in their form, or if it's a mentality thing, if they're just more confident when they're hitting people. Whatever the fuck it is, it worked though. And that was the one thing I wanted to say about half too. Nick Sirianni said going into half, we need to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. And I wonder how many times he said that to the team at half this year. Hey guys, look, we're right there. We're a good team. We're right there. We just need to correct these little things. We need to stop, having these self-implicating wounds that set us back. And if we can correct that, we're going to go out there and win the game. And every time he's done that, he said that, it's been better for the Eagles. So I'm a big fan of it. It wasn't the most entertaining game, especially in the first half. And the Eagles definitely got bailed out by Justin Tucker missing those 2 field goals. That was something we talked about earlier in the show too, Ryan. How are you feeling about that? I mean, they got lucky. They got lucky.
With Justin Tucker?
Yep.
He's I don't want to say washed because that's like a hard term and it's used so incorrectly now. So but
took a step back.
If he made a couple of those kicks, it would have been a much closer game than it was.
Mm-hmm.
And he put his team in a tough spot. Now, I saw a stat from Merle Reese that he said that he has 7 missed kicks on the year. 7 missed kicks goes a long way. And what, he missed 2 or 3 tonight alone? So,
yeah, he had an extra field goal miss too.
Costly. That's costly.
Yeah, it adds up.
Costly to a team.
Yeah, you know how field goals aren't that important, but if you miss field goals, they're very important.
They'll bite you in the ass. They'll come and bite you in the ass.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Josh made a good point tonight. He said, and you guys next game watch this. The first 2 drives, the Eagles trying to figure out the defense trying to figure out what to do. And then the 3rd drive on defense, they kind of get their shit together and they play great defense. So I noticed that tonight, and I would be mindful of that and see if that you see the same thing, because again, that's adapting to what we're given, and that's where Vic Fangio is a great defense coordinator, and those adaptions are huge, in the long run.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan. Like, I was a fan of Fangio when we signed him. But then the first 4 weeks of the season, I was like, get this guy the hell out of here. But now, I mean, I think what he was able to do is that when he came into the year, he was trying to revamp the defense because of how bad the defense was with Desai and Patricia. So he came in and tried to bring old school back to football. And the guy, I don't think the guys were bought in. Like, the guys were like, oh, get this guy the hell out of here. And then for some reason, somehow, some way, he got them to buy into what he was saying and what he was trying to do, and they bought in, and it's working extremely well now. So whatever he was able to do, whatever message he was able to the input in their brains, it's worked to an extreme amount, and I'm happy. I'm happy to know that our defense is not a problem as of right now.
Yeah, knock on wood, right? The way you said that, like a true fan.
Yeah, no, I was like, as of right now.
Yeah, well said.
We don't know. It might go back because Blankenship's down. Quignon at one point was down. Darius Slay's out, even though I don't think he is he's not going to be missed. But there's some guys that are injured. So, but I don't think that this is a problem. We're going to be all right, but it's good to see that the team is officially bought into his message, and not just his message, but Kellen Moore's message also.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I make a lot of fun of Kellen Moore as the game goes on, just for some of his play calling and the way that he looks. I mean, I don't think that the guy closed his mouth a second of the goddamn game. He's always looking like this. Like something's all in his mind. But holy shit. I mean, the way that he's gotten this offense going, especially like I said, in that first half to A.J. Brown, those routes that he called, he's calling this shit up. Nick Sirianni ain't capable of that. And I think now that Nick Sirianni has finally handed the keys to Kellen, you're seeing this MVP-like season from Barkley because Moore has had those pieces before. I think he's underutilized them, overutilized them. He's had that experience in 2 really good offenses for the Cowboys before and for the Chargers. So now he's coming to Philadelphia with sort of this expertise now, but he has all these pieces and he's like, okay, let me see how I can use each of these guys to my best benefit. I start to wonder, and I want to get both your guys' take on this. Do you think that now the Eagles may start to slow down with how much they use Barkley just to kind of, reserve him a little bit more for the playoffs? We're getting to December. They're looking pretty good. You think they'll take the pedal off once they fully secure that 1 seed against the Lions?
I say for the Panthers game, don't run him as much because, granted, the Panthers are a gritty team. We've seen them against the Chiefs losing by 3.
And they just won the night, too.
Did they win or lose?
No, they stormed down the field with 30 seconds left and won the game.
God.
Who did?
Damn.
Who did?
No,
the Bucks won the time.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah,
Facts.
they're still a gritty team. And this is not a game to, push aside because, they already know their season's done, correct? So their goal the rest of the season is just to fuck everyone else over. And they will do that. So for this next game, still run Saquon Barkley, but working Kenneth Gainwell, working Will Shipley more. Because this next game, the game against the Steelers, that's going to be another gritty game that we got to utilize Saquon. But yeah, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to start to lower his touches because you don't want to burn him out, you don't want to gas him out, and you don't want him to get injured either. Is like I think the Panthers game is definitely a game where you could see Jalen Hurts play. I would like take the load off of Saquon, and I think it's but yeah, I don't. I think having him average 15 touches a game is not bad, but I don't want to see him go over 20 or so rushes like we have seen him do. You want to start to bring him back. You want to start to have him calm down, but you also want to have him continue to touch the ball and continue to run and keep the body moving. So you don't want to lower him too much, but you also don't want to just like use him too much as well. You want to keep him right around that 15 mark. Which is and let Jalen, which I as much as I dislike him, I want to see him do good. So I hope that if we lower the touches of Saquon, he gets him more in the rhythm to pass, which is what we want.
I think that the only people who won't want that are the people who took the Saquon Barkley MVP bet just because that race is going to be so close. And Saquon Barkley getting the ball more times is obviously going to be his benefit because we've seen what he can do. But I like the way Ryan put it too. 15 is that sweet spot. That's just right. It's not too little. It's not a lot. It gives him a chance to make the plays. But at the same time, I mean, this team's good enough. And like Ryan said, almost get Jalen Hurts in sort of a momentum going into the playoffs where he's throwing the ball with confidence.
Yeah, and he and let's not forget, if 15 touches easily, most likely 98.9% of the time is going to get him over 100 yards anyway. And then it's not like we only use him for running the ball. We pass to him a lot out of the backfield, check down. So he gets used all the time. So if you're going to run him 14 to 16 times, you're at least going to pass to him 5 times. So he's still going to be used. He's still going to use his speed and his agility for the team. So if you can bring it down from, I think he had like 20 something tonight. I don't know the exact number, maybe 23. But yeah, 23. Bring him down to like 15. And you use him out of it, and you use him with check downs, and everything will work correctly. And he still will have a chance for the MVP if you use him like that as well.
Yeah, I think he will too. If the Eagles keep winning these games, and if Jalen Hurts keeps having these games where he's not going to surpass 225 fucking passing yards a game, no disrespect to Jalen either. If it's working for the Eagles, everybody's buying into this. It's a team mentality. There's no selfishness. If Saquon Barkley's got to be the guy that eats, and that's what works for the Eagles offense, and that's what gets us a trophy and everybody a ring, keep doing it. keep going. It's really funny. I hate to compare this offense to this offense. You guys may not like this, or you guys may like it, but this offense really reminds me of that Cowboys offense in the 90s with like Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, I'm drawing a blank, Troy Aikman. Just, it felt like they had every piece that they needed. And you look at A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, all of these guys are like arguably top 5, if not top 3, when they're playing at their best for their position. And they're all playing in an offense at the same time. For not just this year, they'll do it again next year, I bet, and maybe the year after. So this is the first year of it. And the fact that they're getting this much momentum, just go. Keep fucking going. Keep winning games. Think about it each game. And just before you know it, you're going to be in the Super Bowl and just win it. Please, please, God, win it. That's literally all I want this year for Christmas is an Eagles Super Bowl, because I'm going to go fucking nuts, and everybody else is. Because after that, guys, I'm going to warn you, I think that this team has a chance to get 1, 2, maybe 3 Super Bowls. But when you get one, don't take it for granted, because you never know the next time you're going to be back. Look at the Niners this year. They basically had what happened to us last year, except worse. Now they may not even make the playoffs. Super Bowl slump and a half.
Yeah. And look how long it's taken. Like, well, we got back to the Super Bowl in 2022 after 2017, but like it takes a long time. And I don't think I don't want to touch on anything that's negative. I don't really want to be negative because it's good to win, but I just still don't know how I feel. I'm not totally sold on Sirianni and the coaching staff, because they in a crunch playoff game where you know it's going to be tight. It's one stupid move, which we know it's Sirianni is known for stupid moves. It could be over quickly. And but I don't want to be negative, but I want that to be in the back of everybody's mind, because everybody's jumping on the Sirianni train. 8-0 with Baldini era. Get the fuck out of here. He might come back and bite us in the ass. I'm just telling everybody. Stay warned. You heard it here first. I wouldn't jump on the Sirianni train too quickly.
So do you think that not a lot of this is because of Nick, is more because of the players and their talent?
Absolutely, it's on the players. And I think it's the coordinators. I'm not a big fan of Kellen Moore, but he's done a great job. A lot of pre-snap motion. Yeah. Looks cleaner. And same with Fangio. But I think when you look at this Eagles team, that roster wins you football games. Like, that's the reason why you're going to win a football game. But you will lose a football game because of Sirianni and his coaching and his bad management. So Sirianni's not a coach that, if your team is playing really shitty, that he's going to come up with some masterful idea of how he can change things around. He's not. He won't do it. So I mean, you're going to win games because of how good the coordinators and the roster is, but you're going to lose games most likely because of how stupid Sirianni is.
Good news is he's not no Matt Eberfluss. Chicago Bears, R.I.P. Shout out to our boy Connor. But I think that's pretty much all we got for the post game. I know if you guys don't, please give Ryan a follow at Broad Street Sports. He's the man. He's working really hard on that page, and we are big fans personally of his content. I think this guy's going to be on ESPN this one day, so stay tuned for that. But anything you want to say on the way out of here? Any final remarks, Ryan, about the Eagles, about the outlook moving forward, anything?
First of all, I appreciate you guys having me on. That's one. And 2, I'm happy where the Eagles stand. Very happy where the Eagles stand. Some people, like my friends or whatever, they think I'm negative Nancy. I'm not. I'm happy that we won. I'm happy where we 10-2. I'm very happy where we are right now. Some things to clean up, obviously. I think right now we're set up very perfectly. The Detroit is bound for a loss. We just have to keep our foot on our head down, keep grinding, keep focusing, not worry about the standings, not worry about what Detroit's doing, not worry about, just focus on you, focus on making the strides to be better, and you'll be exactly where you want to be. Exactly where you want to be. Head down, grind, do whatever you got to do, keep yourself healthy, and you'll be exactly where you want to be. Exactly where you want to be.
I love it. And guys, like I said, make sure to give this guy a follow at Broad Street Sports on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Like
You
on his
won't
handle.
regret it. You will not regret it.
You won't. He
Nah.
brings it. Jackson,
does.
anything you want to say? Otherwise, I mean, feel free, brother.
Yeah, Ryan, definitely appreciate you coming on. You won't regret not following him. You better follow that motherfucker. He is legit. He is funny. He is awesome. I love that kid. But yeah, without further ado, Eagles win 24-19. Eagles are now 10-2. We have a game against the gritty Panthers next week. Do not let up. This team is amazing. This team is doing great things. Keep your foot on the pedal and push it to the floor. Without further ado, hey, Josh.
Birds, baby.
It is.
I love
And-
Paul Sirianni. No.
It is an outro, not an intro. Hit that motherfucking outro. Ooh.
This is for you.